Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific! I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry? You sure you don't like art, Sherry? Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him. Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mold-ridden. One presumes deliberately. A Malpowbot. A Malpowbot. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing. The parasites of creativity, or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Saturn devouring his sun. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow beautiful. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room, but the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
It's a reflection on mortality. Nothing lasts forever, no beauty sustains itself, and everything succumbs to darkness. Am I right?
I don't know.
Well, that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, my investigation has revealed that the intrusion was not merely vandalism, but theft. The limping visitor left your place with a canvas.
That's very impressive.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
This thief was familiar with the gallery, and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My, your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin. Even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news. Or at least with a good story.
Mr. Holmes, I have something for you. Mr. Holmes, I see what you're up to. Mysterious stranger pursues betrothed woman. But please, let us keep things professional. I have in my possession an envelope containing details of a special assignment for you. Tell me, are you interested?
Miss Sertle, I am not pursuing you, and I am not pursuing further work at the minute.
Well, it shall wait for you here. Do come back. It's quite something.
Nice affordable clothes. Let's pick something that suits you. A good choice. A good choice indeed.
Come, come! Decorate your house in Oriental
Don't miss
style.
out on my unique...
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes. Do you know what makes a lady happy? Paid rent.
The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. Could be the murder weapon. A normal kitchen knife. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werder's description of the stolen painting. The chest has been searched. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. It appears the wine was truly awful. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called Expressionism. Don't look at me like that, Sherry. I will not touch that dirty floor.
The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon?
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon?
Do you know what makes a lady happy? Paid rent. Do you know what makes a lady happy? Paid rent.
Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe Maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a horrible smell I can recognize from a mile away.
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat. And don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
You always take me to the best of places, Sherry. Phew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything correctly. Now, take off your outfit. I can't let you walk around in a dead man's clothes. Poor chap.
Beasts!
May I ask you something?
I'm so sorry. I can't help you, sir.
Murderers!
They're completely livid.
Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness for a case.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorised. I can't let you in.
And you are?
I'm Ronald Harlow, here to handle the refugee situation on behalf of City Hall. I'm the acting supervisor here, so I have full authority here to ask you to leave, or I shall order the police to detain you for trying to pass the blockade. Please, step back.
What about the murder that this crowd keeps shouting about?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
I know you want to deal with this in the right way. You are obviously a professional and a responsible person, but you clearly have never handled a situation like this before.
I am handling it, Mr. Holmes. Don't question my capability here.
And tell me how you do it. You can't even calm this gathered crowd, and as for the police, they're not quite managing it either, are they? You consider yourself a problem solver, but until today, you've been solving problems sitting at your desk in a dark corner of a city hall room. Here, you need a more practical approach.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
I can help you to handle the situation if you're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh. I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
Mr. Harlow, how did the refugees end up here exactly?
Oh, so you're not from around here yourself?
I've been away for some time, but I read the papers.
Yes, this whole story has been in the papers for almost a year now. They were smuggled to Cordona on a ship from Africa.
Smuggled? Then why didn't you deport them?
The smugglers managed to sneak them to shore and hide them inside an abandoned warehouse. When the police raided the warehouse and found the refugees there, the ship was already gone. We aren't even certain as to which ship it was. We have busy shipping routes with other colonies these days, you see.
So you decided to lock them up under a bridge?
There was no other option. We're still trying to work out what to do with them. I only hope we'll find a humane solution and not put them on a raft and float them out to sea.
Mr. Harlow, what exactly do you do here? What are your responsibilities?
What I do and what I am responsible for are two different realities, Mr. Holmes. On paper, I am in charge of the camp territory, security, provision, and the refugees in general. What I actually do most of the time is knock on every City Hall door trying to obtain some funding, or at least rations for the camp.
Are the police here on City Hall's behalf too?
They are, minus those who came here after the body was found. The governor won't let the refugees disperse into the island, so there's a significant police presence guarding the camp. Naturally, they answer directly to the police. I have some influence here, but I'm not their direct authority.
I'm ready to take a look at the scene.
All right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tewkesbury. He's the officer investigating the scene. Tell him I sent you. Say you're an independent expert from City Hall. He'll fill in the details for you.
I'll find my way with words. Thank you, Mr. Harlow.
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people outside are so disturbed.
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tewkesbury, I presume?
A surveyor? What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector. And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is this young woman now?
Back there in the shacks, same as the rest of the refugees. She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Did you learn anything about the dead man?
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like him fished out of the sea over the past 20 years. Ever since these refugees arrived, there have been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity?
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
Do you have any suspects yet?
You're joking, right? I've got a whole camp full of suspects. And if you ask me, this bloke had it coming. Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your superiors wish to get rid of the refugees?
I think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
Here we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body? 0.
Clearly a left handprint here. A furrow in the ground. A blood trail leading to or from the canal. Someone bled profusely here. A fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently. Police boots, always happy to trample evidence. A heavy boot with a worn-out sole. A man's footprint.
These events have fractured into so many pieces. But I know you can collect them all, Sherlock.
Malpal, soaked with salt water. £1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona. A simple leather sheath. Perfect for a dirk. A steel dirk, sharp. A common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however the wound is too messy to be certain. An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something? Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here. Heavy boots, with one sole far more worn than the other. This man was limping, John. A violent death. This man, limping. Coal dust. I think we're onto something here, John.
You know, Sherry, it's dawned on me to not clown around with knives anymore.
If they find out about the passage, everything will go
Such
to
a
hell.
mess. Let's figure it out. Sherry, just look at this. Living quarters in a sewer. What kind of a genius bureaucrat came up with this idea?
If they find out about the passage, everything will go to hell. Nobody will know anything if you keep your bloody mouth shut.
The coppers smell fishy here, Sherry. Perhaps we should sniff around in the camp a little more thoroughly. Our dead fella truly has had a day of misfortune.
Oh, carnelian agate beads, a traditional African adornment. The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. No hint of blood or impact. Someone was dragged against their will.
The refugees have been detained and will not leave until all the circumstances are clarified. Back off.
The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately. He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place? Are you able to help me?
A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
I'll use it to create a solution.
These events have fractured into so many pieces. But I know you can collect them all, Sherlock.
Just washed. Better than nothing to bandage the wound. That will kill, not save him. It won't do any good. Nausea and stomach pain is not what he needs now. I can use this to stop the infection from spreading. I've collated all the ingredients, now to prepare the first aid solution.
Thank you.
This should make you feel better, my friend. Now remain lying down and drink as much water as you can.
Well done, Sherry. At least he won't die from the infection.
Help me, please.
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates. It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
You still here? Don't bother someone else with this, son. I've already told you all I've learned. Your problem, not mine. I've already told you all I've learned. Less than you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads.